Let us talk about the next topic, which is Argand plane. Another name for it is complex plane or Gaussian plane. Now, what is this? This is basically a plane consisting of the points which represent a complex number. What I mean is, if I take these axes, now this horizontal line represents the real axis, right? This is x o x dash. This x o x dash is my real axis, and this y o y dash is the imaginary axis. And every complex number, every complex number x plus iota y, or even if you do not want to get confused, you can take a plus iota b, or any complex number of this form can be represented. Now x y belong to real numbers, and iota is what? It is equal to square root of minus 1. Now this complex number can be represented as a point x comma y on a 2D plane known as complex plane, right? So every complex number of the form a plus iota b or x plus iota y can be represented by a point on this 2D plane, which is known as complex plane, horizontal axis of which is known as real axis, horizontal axis of which is known as real axis, and vertical axis is known as the imaginary axis. And this is the ordered pair, that represents a point corresponding to this complex number. For example, if I have got 3 plus 4 iota, then the ordered pair I'll have is 3 comma 4. So corresponding to these coordinates, let us say this is x axis, this is y axis. Corresponding to these coordinates, I'll have a point here, right? This point is 3 comma 4. Now this point represents this complex number 3 plus 4 iota in this plane, which is my complex plane. So every point in this complex plane, represents a complex number corresponding to it. Okay, that is why it is known as a complex plane. This is my real axis, this is imaginary axis. So we know that on this axis we'll have points like this 3 comma 0, right, or x comma 0 in general, so of which y coordinate will be 0. So this every point on real axis will be of the type where y coordinate is 0, so x plus 0 into iota type, right? That means its imaginary part is going to be 0. So every point that lies on this real axis is purely real. How did we define purely real numbers? Where the imaginary part is equal to 0. And numbers, so complex number will be a purely real number when its imaginary part is 0. And a complex number will be purely imaginary when its real part is 0. So every point on this y-axis will be of the type 0 comma y. Hence, these points on y-axis will represent purely imaginary complex numbers. Purely imaginary complex number. What about this point here, origin? This is 0 comma 0. So it represents 0. Basically, it is 0 plus 0 iota. Right? It is purely real as well as purely imaginary. Now, let us talk about magnitude of a complex number. Magnitude. If I have got a complex number root 3 plus 3 iota, okay, so this point, let us say this point represents this number, so this point, coordinates of this point will be root 3 into root 3 comma 3, okay. Now the magnitude is this length. If I join this point O, that is origin, with this point, let us say P, this length OP will give me the magnitude. And how do I find this magnitude? This is just the length or the distance between these 2 points O and P. So I'll just apply the distance formula, and this length will be nothing but root 3 squared plus 3 squared square root, right? So this is 3, this is 9, so square root of 12, or you can also write it as 2 root 3. So this will be the magnitude of this complex number. How did I get it? I found the corresponding point, that is root 3 comma 3, and I found its distance from the origin, right? So that gave me the magnitude. And if I take another point, this, which is minus root 3 comma 3, you will see that it will also have the same magnitude, because this will also be minus root 3 squared plus 3 squared square root. So this point will also have the same magnitude. And I can say about this point also, this point is minus root 3 minus 3, and there will be another point here, that will be root 3 comma minus 3. So all these complex numbers represented by these 4 points that I have given you will give me the same magnitude, that will be 2 root 3, right? So magnitude wise they are same, but they make different angles with positive direction of x-axis. They make different angles with positive direction of x-axis. So what are these angles? Angles made by this line OP with positive direction of x-axis is known as the argument of a complex number. Argument of a complex number. So what is it? Angle made by OP with positive direction of x-axis. Once we study about vectors, then we will say angle made by this radius vector, because this complex number also is represented by vector. So, but right now you consider this angle made by OP. OP is what? A line joining the complex number, the point representing the complex number and the origin. The line OP makes an angle with positive direction of x-axis, so we are calling that angle as argument. So if you see, all of these complex numbers had same magnitude, right? But they have got different arguments, because this point lies in first quadrant, this second quadrant, this in third quadrant, this in fourth quadrant. Now if you notice, we have talked about this in trigonometry also. If I have got a ray here, if I have got certain ray and it makes an angle, let us say alpha, with positive direction of x-axis, then we can rotate this ray completely through one revolution and we can come back to it. So whether I say that this angle is alpha, this ray represents this angle alpha, or 2 pi plus alpha, this is one and the same thing, because we will reach at the same ray here, right? If I rotate it once again, I'll reach here once again. So 4 pi plus alpha will also give me the same angle. If I rotate it clockwise by minus 2 pi, because when I rotate a ray clockwise, I'll consider that angle to be negative. So I can say minus 2 pi plus alpha is also this ray, right? So argument is not unique. What I mean to say is, argument of OP is not unique because it will be 2n pi plus alpha, where n belongs to integers, right? So these arguments will differ by 2 pi. Okay. Now the case that I took for root 3 plus 3 iota, right? I gave you 4 complex numbers, one root 3 plus 3 iota, another minus root 3 plus 3 iota. You keep listening to this, and in the end you will see that this concept of argument, amplitude, principal argument, everything will be clear at the end of this lecture. Minus root 3 minus 3 iota. So if I consider these 4 complex numbers, we said these complex numbers have got the same magnitude. As we can see, what is magnitude? Square of this, square of real part of the complex number plus square of the imaginary part of complex number, square root. What was the magnitude? Real part of complex number squared plus imaginary part of complex number squared, square root. If you see, real part and imaginary part of these complex numbers are same in magnitude. That is, if I square them, they will all become positive, right? So they will give me the same result for the magnitude, which is 2 root 3, right? This is what we found. Now see, this was root 3 comma 3. This was minus root 3 comma 3. This was minus root 3 comma minus 3, and this was root 3 comma minus 3, right? This is how the coordinates are. First quadrant, both the coordinates are positive. In second quadrant, x is negative, y is positive. In third quadrant, both are negative. And in fourth quadrant, x coordinate is positive, y coordinate is negative. Now if you see, this will make certain angle with positive direction of x-axis here. Let us call this angle as phi. Okay. And this ray, this position, will also make an angle with x-axis. So let us call it as phi. So what is phi? Phi I am taking as my reference angle. What is reference angle? It is the smallest angle that a ray makes with x-axis. Now I am not saying positive direction of x-axis, anywhere with the x-axis. So this is, let this be phi, and let this be phi for this number. Okay, so when this number is in first quadrant, this is my reference angle. Okay, this is the smallest angle made with the x-axis. So what will be this angle? I can find it like this. I can drop a perpendicular here. I know that this height is 3 and this base here is root 3. So I can always do tan phi, which will be equal to opposite by adjacent. That is 3 upon root 3, which is root 3. So it will give me phi equals pi by 3 in first quadrant, right? It will give me phi equal to pi by 3 in first quadrant. Okay, I am looking for acute angles here. If I want in this triangle here, this length here will be also be 3, and this will also be root 3. I am just talking about these lengths. I am not concerned with their signs because I am looking for acute angle phi. So in this triangle also, tan phi will give me 3 upon root 3, that is root 3. So phi will be pi upon 3. Okay, so I want you to find an acute angle corresponding to all of these complex numbers. What acute angle do I want you to find? The angle that this ray makes with the x-axis. I am not saying positive direction of x-axis or negative direction of x-axis. All I want is the smallest angle that it makes with the x-axis. How do I find that? By doing this. Tan phi equals the imaginary part divided by the real part. What I am doing is tan phi I am taking as mod of the y coordinate. What is y coordinate? 3, and what is x coordinate? Root 3. So if I take mod, whether I take minus root 3, let us say I take minus I take minus, I'll take 3 here and minus root 3 here, right? Y coordinate I take here and x coordinate here. So even in this case, this will give me root 3, okay, because of this mod. Why I have applied this mod? Because I am looking for this reference angle, that is an acute angle. Alright, so if you have found this, that phi is equal to pi by 3, what can you say about this angle, which I am denoting by theta, and I am calling it as my argument? What is the argument? The angle made by this length OP with positive direction of x-axis. Now I am specifying positive direction of x-axis. So I can call this angle as theta. So theta, when this is in first quadrant, theta is nothing but phi, right? But for this complex number which lies in second quadrant, what will be theta? Theta will be this angle, which is, now in this case, theta will be equal to pi minus phi, right? When this angle is in third quadrant, for example for this, what will be theta? Theta will be pi plus this angle phi. Theta will be pi plus this angle phi, right? And in fourth quadrant, when I go here, what will be theta? Theta will be 2 pi minus this angle phi. So it will be equal to 2 pi minus this angle phi. So this is how we write argument. Now, argument, when I am writing between 0 to 2 pi, right? I'm when this is in first quadrant, this is the argument that I am considering. When it is in second quadrant, this is what will give me the argument. In third quadrant, this is what will give me the argument. And in fourth quadrant, this is what will give me the argument. This is the interval that I have taken, 0 to 2 pi. Okay. And we know we can have 2n pi plus this argument as my argument. Okay. So I'll have infinite such arguments which will take me to the same ray. But now I am talking about principal value of argument. Principal value of argument. Right. I want my theta to be between pi and minus pi only, right? Where pi is included, minus pi is not, because minus pi and pi both refer to same ray here. So if I have included this, I don't have to include minus pi. And by convention, pi is included, because what I mean to say is this is 0, this is pi by 2, this is pi, this is 3 pi by 2, and this is 2 pi. So I want my angle to be between this range, then I will call it principal value of argument, right? How can I find this angle theta? Just by using that reference angle that we just spoke about. Now, if the angle is in first quadrant or second quadrant, right, we will go in anti-clockwise direction, 0 to pi, right? We will go from 0 to pi in anti-clockwise direction. And when I go 0 to minus pi, because minus pi and pi both are this ray, so I have considered this, included this here by this equality, but this I have not included because I have already included it as pi. So these values I'll go clockwise direction. So 0 to minus pi I will go in clockwise direction, and 0 to pi I will go in anti-clockwise direction. So this will include all these four quadrants. So this interval also, so any interval of 2 pi length you can take. It will include all the rays that you can form, right? All the angles. But when the angle lies between minus pi and pi, where pi is included, then I will call this angle or this argument as principal value of argument. And how do I bring it in minus pi to pi? If this is in first quadrant, I said we will look for this reference angle phi, right? If this is in second quadrant, this will be my reference angle. Third quadrant, this will be the acute angle that I will be looking for. Fourth quadrant, this will be the acute angle. Now see, how can I find this acute angle? I'll just apply tan phi and write opposite by adjacent. What will be opposite coordinate? If it is x plus iota y, let us say, I'll take y coordinate divided by x coordinate, because this length will be y and this length will be x, right? Now these may have any sign, plus, minus, so I am talking about all four quadrants. So when I take tan phi equal to y by x, it will give me this angle, acute angle, right? So I'll take mod of y by x. So I am not considering whether it is in this direction or this direction. I am considering these lengths only, y and this is x. So this will give me value of phi, right? Value of phi. Now once you study about inverse trigonometry, then you will know we can also denote phi by tan inverse y by x. So you will find this angle phi, which is an acute angle made with the x-axis. Once you have found this, now how to differentiate whether this is in first quadrant, this is in second quadrant? Now if it is in first quadrant, we will take, now I am talking about theta here, right? Or let me talk about principal value of argument of this complex number z, and I am calling it theta. So theta, when it is in first quadrant, theta will be equal to phi, right? I want my theta to be between minus pi to pi. So let us look at it. If it is in first quadrant, I'll simply call it phi. If it is in second quadrant, I'll call it pi minus phi. What is theta? This is my theta. While going from 0 to pi, I'll go in anti-clockwise direction. So what is this? This is pi minus this phi. This is pi minus phi. When it is in third quadrant, I'll look at it in clockwise direction. So this will be minus pi plus phi. When it is in third quadrant, it will be, theta will be minus pi plus phi. And when it is in fourth quadrant, it will be minus phi. This is in first quadrant, this is second quadrant, third quadrant, and this is when it is in fourth quadrant. What I mean is, let me give you a concrete example. For example, I took my complex number to be root 3 plus 3 iota, okay, and then I took, let us say this is z1. When I take z2 as minus root 3 minus 3 iota, let us talk about these two varieties first of all. When it is z1, this is the point that refers to root 3 comma 3. So this is the complex number which this point refers to. Now I'll create this triangle here. This length will be 3, this length will be root 3. So what will be this angle phi? Tan phi will be equal to 3 upon root 3, that is root 3. Hence phi will be equal to pi by 3. Now that it is in first quadrant, so I'll write argument or principal value of the argument of z as theta, the phi itself, because it is in first quadrant. Now look at this point, minus root 3 minus 3, this is in third quadrant, so it will be somewhere here, minus root 3 minus 3, right? Now to find this angle phi, what I'll do is, this angle phi will again be found by tan phi. This length here is 3 and this length is root 3. So it will again give me phi equal to pi by 3, right? But now it is in third quadrant, and in third quadrant the principal value of argument will be minus pi plus pi by 3, right? So which will be minus 2 pi by 3. So I want the value of argument between minus pi to pi for it to be principal value of the argument. If we consider this position here, which is minus root 3, 3, right? For this, if I find this phi, this will still be, phi will be equal to pi by 3. Now it is in second quadrant. For this, the principal value of argument will be pi minus pi by 3. For this it was minus pi plus pi by 3. And if it is in fourth quadrant, it is in fourth quadrant, then it will have principal value of argument as minus pi by 3. When I say it is in fourth quadrant, so I am referring to root 3 comma minus 3, right? So this will have argument minus pi by 3. I hope you understood that when I'm talking about first quadrant, and phi is my reference angle, let us say, when I'm talking about first quadrant, the principal value of argument will be phi itself, first quadrant. When it is in second quadrant, it will be pi minus phi. In third quadrant, it will be minus pi plus phi. In fourth quadrant, it will be minus phi, right? This is second quadrant, this is third quadrant, this is fourth quadrant. Okay. Now let us talk about a little bit about conjugate of complex number, then we will move ahead. When I said that this is a complex number z, what is its conjugate? We said that conjugate is just change the sign of imaginary part. So it will be a minus iota b. Obviously a, b belong to real numbers. Okay. So if this is point that refers to a comma b, what will be the point that refers to a comma minus b? It will be just below it, right? Here, because a is this length and minus b will be exactly the same length. This will be b, this will be a. So minus b will be exactly the same length in this direction, negative direction of y-axis, right? So this point here will refer to a comma minus b. Now this is the conjugate of this complex number and vice versa also. So what is conjugate? Conjugate is the reflection of this point in real axis, right? It is just the reflection of the point in, or mirror image of this point in real axis. So if this point is, let us say here, and I call it minus a comma b, a and b are positive numbers, okay? So if I call it minus a comma b, what will be its conjugate? Its conjugate will be here, right? Because this length here is a, and with this negative sign, because I am talking about in negative direction, and this length is b. So if I want its conjugate, now what is the complex number that it refers to? Minus a plus b iota. So its conjugate will be minus a minus b iota, which is here. So this length will be b in negative direction. So this point will refer to minus a comma minus b, which is its conjugate. So conjugate of a complex number is its reflection in x-axis. So if a point or if a complex number is in first quadrant, its conjugate will be in fourth quadrant, and vice versa. If it is in second quadrant, its conjugate will be in third quadrant, and vice versa. That is, if it is in third quadrant, its conjugate will be in second quadrant. Okay. One more point that I want to highlight here is about this point here. This also refers to the complex number 0 plus 0 iota. Now what is its argument? Argument of 0 plus 0 iota is not defined. Because how do I define the argument? I join this point with the point referring to that complex number. For example, for 3 plus 4 iota, we said that this line OP makes an angle with positive direction of x-axis, and this will give me my argument. But in case of 0 plus 0 iota, if I join 0 plus 0 iota with itself, it will just be a point. It will not make any angle here with the x-axis. So we say that argument of this point 0 plus 0 iota is not defined. Okay, and 0 plus 0 iota is purely real as well as purely imaginary, but its argument is not defined. We also know that purely real numbers will lie here on the positive direction of x-axis or the negative direction of x-axis, and purely imaginary numbers will lie on this axis, that is imaginary axis. So what will be the argument of numbers lying here? It will be pi by 2, and numbers lying here, it will be minus pi by 2, right? So purely imaginary numbers will have argument as minus pi by 2 or pi by 2. Okay, And what about numbers which are purely real? They will have argument 0, 0 or pi. Okay, and then we can have trigonometric form or polar form, which is as simple as this. So we are talking about polar form or trigonometric form. Now I represented z equal to x plus iota y, where x, y belong to real numbers, by a point here. Let it be x comma y. I said that this is z, right? And this was the magnitude of z. This length OP was magnitude of z. Now if this theta is argument of this complex number, then what can I say about this length here in terms of mod z? Can I say this is equal to mod z sine theta? We have studied about this in trigonometry, right? And what will be this length? Mod z cos theta. Or let me give another name to mod z, r. So can I say that this length is r sine theta and this length is r cos theta? Yes, we have studied about it in trigonometry. So what will be the coordinates of this point in terms of r sine theta, r cos theta? It will be r cos theta, comma r sine theta. So this can be taken as r cos theta and this can be taken as r sine theta in terms of the coordinates, where r is the modulus of z or magnitude of the complex number. This is the magnitude of the complex number and it is taken as positive length, right? And what is theta? Theta is the argument of this complex number z. So these are the coordinates that can be taken in trigonometric form or polar form. I can write this in polar form like this: z will be equal to r cos theta plus iota into r sine theta. I have replaced x with r cos theta and y with r sine theta, so I can write it as r into cos theta plus iota sine theta. That is how I write it in polar form, where r is the magnitude of that complex number and theta is the argument of complex number. When theta I take between minus pi to pi, when I take theta between minus pi to pi, this form is known as true polar form. True polar form. So if I take the principal value of argument, this will be true polar form. So in this chapter we will be writing in true polar form. Okay, so we will be looking for value of theta between pi and minus pi, and we'll write the complex numbers that are written in x plus iota y form in true polar form, in this form, right, where r will be my magnitude and theta will be principal value of the argument. Okay, so let us solve some of the questions. For example, let me give you a glimpse, then we will move to the question. I was talking about a complex number like this, 3 plus root 3 iota. So first thing that I'll do is I'll find tan phi, which will be equal to this coordinate divided by this coordinate, irrespective of the sign. So let me do that. It will be 1 by root 3. So phi will be equal to what? Pi by 6. Then after that I will look which quadrant it falls into. If it falls into first quadrant, I'll simply write theta equal to phi. If it is in second quadrant, that is if it is like this, minus 3 plus root 3 iota. If it is in second quadrant, it will still give me phi equal to pi by 6, but I will write theta equal to pi minus pi by 6. If it is in third quadrant, minus 3 minus root 3 iota, then it will still give me phi equal to pi by 6 because I am looking for reference angle. So theta will be, in this case, will be minus pi plus pi by 6. And if it is in fourth quadrant, that is a complex number of this type, 3 minus root 3 iota, then it will give me phi equal to pi by 6 because I have modulus here, right? So, but theta, that is the principal value of the argument, will be minus pi by 6, right? So, phi, pi minus phi, minus pi plus phi, minus phi. This is how it will go. First quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant. Now let us move to the questions.